Hey everyone, it's hard to believe, but it's now been 2 years since Ivanti announced that Cherwell was going away, that Cherwell was going to be end of life. At the time, they gave us just over 3 years to find another route to migrate off of Cherwell, and we're almost to the point where we have only a year left. We have just over a year left, I guess a year and 2 months. Uh, if you haven't made plans for how you're going to move off of Cherwell, of course, now's the time. Stop watching this video and go do that right now. I mean it. A year is not a lot of time. In fact, the last 2 years have gone by so quickly. It's kind of amazing. But with that in mind, with 2 years in the books and a year to go before Cherwell is no more, I wanted to reflect on what we've done with Cortex, what we've done here at Synapse Software, what's happened in the world of Cherwell, and kind of provide some thoughts on what should happen in the next year. So, of course, in the last 2 years, we here at Synapse Software built Cortex. It started out as a tool to archive Cherwell data. But we knew, obviously, Cherwell being end of life in always less than 3 years, basically, since when we started building Cortex, that was not going to be something that would have a lifetime forever, right? After the end of 2026, most people are already going to have an archive solution. We'll still be around. We will still sell you Cortex if you decide that you need an archive solution for Cherwell data after 2026. As long as you have the data, you can do anything with it, including setting up Cortex. And of course, if you need to have access to your data for many, many years, you can continue to use Cortex for as long as you need to. We can talk specifics on the licensing and the support and maintenance and all of the nitty-gritty details of how we handle that on a separate call. There's information to contact me down below. But at the end of 2026, we knew that we would have to have something new, something relevant to the ITSM market. And that's really what we've been spending, especially the last year, on. Our plan was basically focus on archiving Cherwell for the first year, figure out what came next over the second year, and then hit it hard on the third year, and really show off what we were going to do and what was going to be the product that brought Synapse Software into the future. And you've seen that. If you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you've seen us show off some of these products and ideas and things that we've put together. And if you're new to the channel, well, I'll give you a brief overview, but I recommend checking out some of those videos because, like I said, over the next year, we'll have a lot more content focused on not just archiving, but automation, which is kind of where we see ourselves going into the future. And as we've been doing both, we've realized that there actually is kind of a bridge between the two. So I'm not going to speak chronologically. I'm not going to speak, necessarily product-oriented or, package-oriented. But I do want to kind of describe the journey from archive to automation as it pertains to you, as it pertains to a company going through a migration or an evolution, even adding on to your existing systems. Even if you don't have to leave your current system and move to another system, what does that look like? Or what do we think that looks like? And how do we see ourselves helping with that whole entire transition? So, of course, there's the archiving aspect, right? If you have a database from Cherwell or another system that you've used a long time ago, or a system that you are currently using and you either have to move off of it or you choose to move off of it at some point in the future, we want to be there. We want to be the archive tool for you. We want to give you visibility into that database. We don't want you to feel like you just have to have a SQL database and then go find someone who knows how to write SQL queries or use a BI tool. We want you to be able to see that data the way you're used to seeing that data. And again, that doesn't matter if you've if it's been several years since you used that tool, or if you're currently using that tool and you're in the process of moving off of it and migrating to another system, we want to give you access to that data the way you expect to see it. And at many different levels. So, of course, we have the ability to just connect to a database and see the data. We also have the ability to connect to very specific types of databases, Cherwell databases, Ivanti Neurons databases, ServiceNow databases, and see them more or less the way you would have seen them in Cherwell, Ivanti, and ServiceNow. We also have plans to kind of bridge the gap between those two. So even if there is a system that we haven't implemented native support for, it doesn't look exactly like the original system, there's a lot of information that we can get simply from the database and provide a more helpful interface than just, hey, look, there's records in a table, right? We want to go beyond that. We want to be able to give you the flexibility to see that data as much as possible and give you the visibility that you need, kind of like a BI tool on steroids. You know, it's not just a data warehouse. It really is an archive that shows this data in a way that's useful to you for archival purposes. Now, moving on from that, once you have your archive, you might want to take some of that data and move it into, well, any other system, probably starting with your new system, your new ITSM system, CRM system, whatever. But you might also want to just import records into a different system, right? You have a bunch of records that you've exported from one system. You want to move them into either the same type of system or even a different system. And we have the capability to do that. Again, that started with folks who had their Cherwell data and wanted to move it into like their Halo database or their Easy Vista database or their Invigate database or their GRPI database. But the sky's the limit there. It doesn't have to start with Cherwell data. It doesn't have to go to necessarily one of those specific target systems. And then, of course, there's the automation side of things, which is where all of the possibilities start to really become, the sky's the limit. So we can, of course, connect to any system, whether it's a database or an API. And now we can automate any process that you want to automate based on that database, or based on that data, rather. So there we started with email monitoring. Cherwell had a great email and event monitor that really wasn't matched by any other system. There are some systems out there that have really good email capabilities, but nowhere near the sophistication that Cherwell had. So we reimagined the Cherwell email and event monitor as a standalone product built on the foundation of CORTEX Archive and turned it into an automation platform. So not only do you trigger automations from email, you can also trigger them from the UI. You can trigger them from records that come from data sources, that come from archive data sources, that come from your current system. And we've also built a portal, right? So a UI that your users can use that is designed for them, and you can build whatever you want, build any sort of form in that portal. Now, some of these things are kind of in progress, so you can't go find them at time of recording. CORTEX 2.4 is the latest released version. A lot of these things are coming in, well, specifically what I just said about the portal is coming in CORTEX 2.5. By the time this gets released, there might be a beta version out, but I'm not entirely sure about that. We'll have to see. But we're moving very much in the direction of automating your IT workflows, providing for the customer experience, providing for the integration between all of your systems, and augmenting your ITSM system. Your ITSM system, hopefully, is a fantastic tool for your IT team, but that's only part of the solution. The rest of your company needs to be able to use that system, needs to be able to interact with that system. They probably use their own tools that need to integrate with the ITSM system somehow. And CORTEX really provides the glue that sits in between all of those systems and makes all of those workflows just kind of happen behind the scenes, in the background, It makes the magic happen. And that's really where we see ourselves going. So over the next year, you'll see a lot more content showing a lot more detail of what I just described. And over the course of 2026, and then of course beyond, you'll see Cortex not just as an archive tool for ideally any system you might want to archive, you'll also see it as an automation platform that can work with that data, whether it's live data or historical data, and help your organization, not just IT anymore, but your organization run that much more efficiently. So hopefully that gave you a bit of insight into where we've come from, where we're going. We still have a year left before Cherwell is end of life. It's sad, but I think we kind of all knew this day was coming. Certainly over the last 2 years, obviously, we knew this day was coming. But I encourage you, if you're still on Cherwell, make the most of this year. If you haven't chosen an ITSM platform to go to, make that decision as soon as possible. We have some ideas. We've worked with a lot of different ITSM platforms, both from the UI and from the integration perspective. So if you want our opinions, we will happily give you our opinions. We do have relationships with a few different vendors, but that won't taint our opinions, our comments. We work with these vendors because they work really well for some of the situations that we tend to see on a regular basis. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're right for you. We're happy to discuss your particular needs and the systems that we've looked at and recommend our choices for your particular situation. If you've already chosen an ITSM system to go to, we can help with the migration. We can help with archiving your Cherwell data. We can help with automating things in your new system. And we have partners who can help with the entire process, help actually do the work. You can check out our partners page, or if there's a partner that you really want to work with, we'd be happy to talk to them and see if we can build a relationship there. Even if we don't, we will certainly sell you Cortex and help you set it up, and we'll figure out a way to make it work. We want to make sure that you all have what you need to move, beyond Cherwell into the next phase of your IT operations, and have the toolbox, have everything at your disposal that you need in order to be successful over this next chapter of the journey. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, let us know. My contact information is down below. You can drop a comment down in the comment section. You can join us at our CORTEX/Synapse Software users group every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time on, I think it's a Teams call now, but you can find a link down in the description below. We also have a Discord server. We talk about all this and more. You can join us on Discord, ask questions, provide feedback, thoughts, that sort of thing. And over the next year, and of course beyond, but certainly over the next year, you'll see us posting a lot of content specifically about how you can use Cortex to be successful in this next chapter of your ITSM journey. With that, I'm going to end the video. Thanks for watching. And here's to another year, just over a year of Cherwell before we unfortunately say goodbye for good.